Hello and welcome to the daily number workout for fifth grade. Today is the number 51. So let's get started first with our word form. So 51, F-I-F-T-Y, 1. And because there's a 1 in the ones place value location, it is odd. All right, let's go for factors. So today we're starting a new way of finding factors. So hopefully you did the same, but I want to demonstrate how you can find factors. So we know 1 goes in 51 times. 2 doesn't go in because it's odd. 3, let's see if 3 goes in. So we're going to just do a long division, 51 divided by 3. So 3 goes into 5 one time because 3 times 1 is 5. Or is 3, silly me. 5 minus 3 is 2. 3 doesn't go into 2. So that column's done. So we're going to drop down the next number, and that's a 1. 3 goes into 21 7 times because 7 times 3 is 21. And 21 minus 21 is 0. So we know 3 goes into 51 17 times. All right, we know 4 does not go in. We know 5 does not go in because it needs to have a 0 or a 5 in the ones place. 6 does not go in evenly. 6 goes into 54 and then 60. If we know our multiples of each number, we know it passes that up. 7 doesn't go in, 8 doesn't go in, and so on. So I'm going to give you another trick to the trade today. Is as we're doing the factors, we can look at 3 and the last factor that we came up with, which is 17, and 17 is a prime number. So if this one can't break down and this one can't break down, then there's probably no more factor pairs and we are done. And so we'll use that technique off and on. So let's go on to our next thing, which is multiples of 51. So I'm going to move my paper up. Let me get this out of, I want you to be able to see the multiples. So we're on multiples, and I'm going to tuck it right next to this division problem so we can have plenty of room over here. So multiples of 51. So we know 51 times 1 is 51. 52 times 51 is 102. So 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 2. All right, the next one is 351. So we're going to drop down here. We're going to do 51 times 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. So we have 153. 51 times 4. 5 times 1 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. Getting carried away here. Y'all know what I'm doing. 51 times 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So we have 255. Then we have 51 times 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. 306. 51 times 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 5 is 35. So 357. 51 times 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. So we have 408. 51 times 9. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 459. And then, of course, any number times 10 is that number with a 0 in the ones place. So those are the first 10 multiples of 51. So we're done with that. So let's go into fractions, decimals and percents. So I'm going to move this up so we have plenty of room. So since our number is 51, of course, our fraction then would be 51 over 100. And we're looking to see if we can get a lower term fraction. So a number that goes into both 51 and 100. So when we go back up here for a second, 51 does not go into 100 evenly. 17 does not go into 100 evenly. 3 does not go into 100 evenly. So 1 is the greatest common factor. So we're not going to divide this by 1 because it would be itself. So hopefully you have your factors of 100, and I'm just going to lay them out here real quick so we can see that none of these factors of 100 are also factors of 51. So none of these would fit. So we have to have a common factor to go with the lowest term fraction, and we do not. So let's move on. So I'm going to move that up for you. So the decimal in this would be 0 and maybe I should move these over to get them 0 and 51 hundredths. And then our percent is, of course, 51%. And we can fit ratio up here. So we're going to fit the ratio. So it would look like this: 51 to 100 or 51:100. So hopefully you can see that clear. It's a little bad on that little 0 there, but I'm sure you can see through that. And let's write this in words. So we would write it 51 hundredths. And remember, we're always putting that THS on the end. This would be 0 and 51 hundredths. Check your answers to mine. And if we were writing it in dollars and cents, it would be $0.51. So $0 and 51 cents. So you've got that all written down. Let's move on to our next category. So I'm going to take these up because our space on the camera is a little short today. We're going to go into area and perimeter. So if we look up at our factors, we want to put them in pairs, and we'll have our area that we're going to be talking about today. So this would be 51 long by 1. So we know a 1 by 51, well, that would be this one. 1 by 51 equals 51. And because we're talking area, it is square units. And then we have a 50, this first one was a 51 by 1 equals 51 square units. All right, and then our other one is a 3 by 17. So when we're talking about our area and perimeter or a rectangle, we are always walking over and then going up the ladder. So this is 3 by 17. And then we're going to have our 17 by 3. All right, so I'm going to write that out here. 3 by 17 equals 51 square units, or a 17 by 3 equals 51 square units. And there we go. But we have not done perimeter yet. So let's go ahead and give these perimeter. And I'm doing this a little different today, but that's okay. Keep doing it the way you do it. So let me get rid of that. All right, so let's start off with this one. It's a 51 by 1 by 51 by 1. So the perimeter there would be 51 plus 1 plus 51 plus 1 equals. So the perimeter of that rectangle is 51 and 51. We know up there is 102 plus these two is 104 units. And this would be linear units because it's just the length of the sides. If we opened up the sides, that would be how long it would be. The other perimeter would have been a 1 plus 51 plus 1 plus 51, which would be the same numbers. So the same answer. All right, let's go to the perimeter of the other ones. So we have a 3 plus 17 plus 3 plus 17 equals. Well, 17 plus 17, hopefully you already did the math, so you're just checking your work. 17 plus 17 is 34, plus 3 and 3 is 6, which is 40 units. And if we change that up to 17 plus 3 plus 17 plus 3, remember, it doesn't matter the order. Sorry about that. That should be a 3. It doesn't matter the order of numbers. They'll always equal the same amount. You can check yourself by doing that work. All right, we're done with area and perimeter. This is an easy one because we only have 2 factor pairs. So let's go up to doing volume. So if we're doing volume, we're going to draw the same one up here. So here is our 51 across. We're going to do 1 deep and we're going to do 1 tall. So hopefully you're getting good at drawing these. So this is a 51 times 1 times 1 equals 51 cubic units. All right, then we can change it up. We'll stand it up on end. So now it is a 1 by 1 by 51. So we have 1 times 51. Width times depth times height, which equals 51. 1 times 1 is 1 times 51 is 1 cubic units. All right, and then our other one would have been the deep one. So it's a 1 by 51 by 1. So 1 times 51 equals 51 times 1 equals 51. Nice. All right, let's go over here and draw the other one. So we have a 17 by 3 by 1. About what it would look like. 17 by 3 by 1. So we're going to write that down. 17 by 3 by 1 equals 51 cubic units. Then we have a 3 by 17 by 1. So let me, oops, a little different. 3 by 17 by 1 tall. So that's 3 by 17 by 1 tall equals 51 cubic units. Still the same amount of cubes. We're just putting them in a different order. Okay, so let's do with 17 by 1 by 3 tall. A little different. We're standing this one up on its side. 17 by 1 by 3. 17 by 1 by 3 equals, and you might have a different order, so just check them off as we go to see if you got them all. All right, let's do a 3 by 1 deep by 17 tall. So we have a 3 by 15. So 3 by 1 by 17 equals 51. All right, and then we're going to do the 1 across by 17 deep by 3 tall. Whoops, I messed that up. So don't worry, I'm just going to use it. I drew my rectangular prism into that 1, but oh well, too bad. 1 by 17 by 3. 1 by 17 by 3 equals 51. And then we have a 1 by 3 by 17. So we're just standing that up a little different. 1 by 3 by 17. 1 by 3 by 17. So as you can see, basically we're just changing the order in which we're multiplying, but we are creating a different perspective of the same amount of cubes. And that is the end of our daily number workout for today. Have a great day.